All right, I know a bunch of folks will be filtering in as I am speaking, so everything that I'm saying, I will be posting into the chat as well. So welcome to the virtual college road trip. We're very happy to have you. We have 6 amazing panelists who are going to be talking about their college or university. This part is very important, but again, I'll put it in the chat. If you have a question for any of our panelists at any time throughout this session, the earlier the better, please hit that Q&A button that's either at the top or bottom of your screen. That Q&A button is the only way that you'll be able to get a direct communication with our panelists throughout this 45-minute session. Our panelists cannot see or hear you. Your camera and microphone are off. So you out there attending this, if you have questions, please use that Q&A. There are more sessions this evening for this, so sign up in the same place that you signed up for this one. And a recording of this will be available at strivescan.com, and I'll put that exact link into the chat as well. Each institution is going to speak for about 6 minutes, so make sure you're paying close attention, because I know that they're going to have to go pretty quickly, and pay attention to that chat. They're going to be putting really important information in there, and the most important information is their contact information or who to contact to learn more about their institution. With that, we are going to kick it off with Bowdoin College. You're muted, Catherine.
Happy Monday. My name is Catherine Stegman. I'm an Associate Dean of Admission here at Bowdoin. And I'm going to go over kind of 3 really high-level things to know about Bowdoin as you think about small liberal arts colleges. So Bowdoin is located in Brunswick, Maine. Really, where we are is who we are. This is a really nice pie chart that it helps explain kind of who Maine is as a state and therefore who Bowdoin is as a college. Bowdoin is an incredibly neighborly place. While students are incredibly motivated, they are not competitive with each other. We really are all in it together. We're also, as I said, located in Brunswick, which is a town of about 22,000 people. We're located in the coast of Maine, which we're about 3 miles from the ocean. And we're 20 minutes north of Portland, which is Maine's largest city. This is the main street of Brunswick, so you can see there is some stuff happening here. The one thing we don't have are traffic reports here in Maine. So there is like a quality of life to coming to Bowdoin, which is a residential college. Our classes are small, so the average class size at Bowdoin is 16 students, and 2/3 of our classes are smaller than 20. This means that classes are discussion-based, they're oriented around the students and conversation between students and faculty. We have more than 31 academic programs at Bowdoin. Again, we are a liberal arts institution, but our biggest majors tend to be government and legal studies, economics, environmental studies, computer science. So maybe some things that aren't as typical at a small liberal arts college. Our student population is about 1,800 students and no graduate students. So all of that faculty attention in those small classes really goes right to our students. We're located, as I said, 3 miles from the coast. So this gives our students some really incredible research opportunities. We have 2 research stations off campus. This one here is the Schiller Coastal Studies Center, which is 20 minutes away. That's host to all of our marine biology programs, but also home to our coastal studies semester. We also have a research station in the Bay of Fundy in Canada, where we send our Kent Island scholars each summer to do independent study. Overall, about 2/3 of our students will do some sort of independent research while they're at Bowdoin, and another 2/3 will do internships. The common good is really all about Bowdoin. So at our founding, this is the first president of the college, Joseph McKean. He said, institutions like Bowdoin are not endowed for the benefit of private citizens who resort to them for their education, but exist to serve the common good. And this has been part of our, our DNA since the very start. So the common good is, yes, it's like community engagement projects, but it's also just how we treat each other here. It's courtesy, it's kindness, it's looking out for one another. And in that kind of respectful community, we really feel like students can get even more out of their education. Our graduates have gone on to found or serve on the boards of some of the most influential companies in this country and globally. And I think it's a surprising thing when people hear that Google is one of our biggest employers and that Netflix was founded by a Bowdoin alum. Bowdoin, while we're tucked up away here on the coast of Maine, is absolutely relevant in terms of real world experience. So I said about 2/3 of our students will do internships. They do internships with all of these companies. They get recruited by these companies. So while we are, in Maine, we're certainly not far away from the kinds of companies that you might be looking to work for or work with. I threw in this picture because it's been really hot here in Maine, and I know it's hot elsewhere in the country, and I thought it might be nice to see some cold weather. But you can also see that students are happy here in winter. It is not a dire place in February. And as we like to say, cold weather, warm people. I want to just touch briefly on our admissions process here at Bowdoin. So we're a holistic review school. And what we look for in your application is half heart, half grades. That's kind of the easy way to break it down. But as I said, the common good is a really essential part of coming here to live in Maine and go to school at Bowdoin. So that's that heart piece. What we don't look for is your income or your test scores. So we are need blind when students apply to Bowdoin. We're also test blind, and we were the first college in this country not to require standardized testing. I'm sorry, we're test optional. So you can choose to submit your testing, but you don't have to. And again, we have put a lot of our resources into our student aid program. And so we are need blind when you apply. We're also no loan, and we meet 100% of need. Again, my name is Catherine Stegeman. I know this is a very short amount of time to hear information, but I'm happy to get questions in the Q&A. You can find all of my contact and my colleagues' contact information at bowdoin.edu. Thanks for joining in tonight, and I wish you luck with your admissions process.
All right, thank you. Next up, we have University of New Hampshire.
Catherine, thank you for giving us that snow picture. I think all of us up here in New England are a little dire for some cooler weather. Taking a quick trip south, we're moving over to the next states, to New Hampshire. My name is Evan Beals. I'm one of the assistant directors of admission here at UNH. Before we get started, we do just like to recognize that a part of everyone's college search process, we'll all talk about location. And here at UNH, we do believe that place matters. And here at the University of New Hampshire in Durham, we are located on the traditional lands and waterways of the Abenaki, Pennacook, and Wabanaki people. We acknowledge and honor with gratitude the land itself and the people who have stewarded it throughout the generations. And as I said, you will kind of navigate through different places as you kind of go about this process, and all of us talk about location, but just to recognize that many of our universities are seated on unceded land from people of the past. Here at the University of New Hampshire, we're located in Durham. We're only about 20 minutes away from the Atlantic Ocean, about 45 minutes from the White Mountains of New Hampshire, about an hour north of Boston, Massachusetts, and an hour south of Portland, Maine. Really the best of all the worlds. You are close to the ocean and to the mountains, but those of you that might be interested in a little bit bigger metropolitan life, Boston and Portland, Maine are close by, both connected with an Amtrak train service that stops right here on campus 6 times a day in and out of those 2 cities. UNH is a school made up of about 12,000 undergraduate students and about 2,500 graduate students. So we're considered a medium-sized school, and we like to say it's Goldilocks size, not too big, not too small, with the majority of our students actually coming from out of state. So as a public flagship state institution, it's a very different population makeup to have the majority of our students coming from outside of New Hampshire. But for us, that creates a really open and welcoming community with people from different backgrounds and different experiences. Our students are coming from 48 out of the 50 states, and our international students call over 70 different countries home. We have over 150 different majors and programs spread across 5 college divisions here at UNH. We always like to just make sure that students know that you're not going to be cookie cuttered into one specific college or one major. You're actually encouraged to explore all of your options here. You might come in as an undeclared liberal arts student and eventually find your way into the Paul College of Business and Economics, or as an engineering student. Our majors and programs range from that College of Liberal Arts to nursing and health sciences, all the way to ocean engineering, or even a space science program in engineering physics. We're one of 20 universities with a land, sea, and space grant status designation from the federal government, which just means that as a student, and our population is a great example of this, as a student, you will be conducting research and part of research teams starting early on in your time on campus. Most of the time starting freshman or sophomore year, you're paired up with faculty mentors and other students within your major or program. And by the time you graduate UNH, many of our students will be published in national or worldwide research journals, or presenting at our undergraduate research conference or another undergraduate research conference somewhere across the country. Lots goes on. We really encourage students to get involved outside of the classroom in their curriculum area and really helping you find kind of a good fit. This all starts happening in our over 50 research centers and institutes, many of them right here on campus, and some of them 8 miles off the coast of Portsmouth, New Hampshire at our Shoals Marine Research Laboratory, or in northern New Hampshire in the federally protected woodland areas in the White Mountains. UNH is a very traditional residential community where about 96% of our first year students are living on campus, 20 Division I athletic programs, and as you can imagine up here in the Northeast, hockey is the ride or die sport. All of this boils down to just this identity as a small New England community with large scale research opportunity that allows you to spread your wings as an individual student. So what does it take to get here? We are on the Common Application or the Coalition Application, both online application platforms. We require your high school transcript and at least 1 letter of recommendation. We are also test optional. And there's actually no benefit to sending in your test scores here at UNH. You're considered for all of our majors and programs and all of our scholarship opportunities, even if you don't choose to submit your test scores. So really looking holistically at those 3 bullet points that you see there on the screen. At this point, I'm wrapping up my time with you all. Please feel free to take a screenshot or a photo of the screen with my contact information here. I'll also make sure to put it in the chat for you. And as you can see at the grad cap there on the left, we have a little saying here in Durham that every day is a great day to be a wildcat, and hopefully we'll see all of you on campus sometime soon. So thank you.
All right, thank you. Next up, we have Salve, Regina University.
Hello, everyone. My name is Nick Albanese with Salve, Regina University. Salve Regina means Hail, Holy Queen in Latin, and it's part of the Catholic prayer that the Sisters of Mercy who founded us were very fond of. The sisters have given us so many things over the past several decades, but one of my favorites is our mission statement. I won't read the entire thing for you, but I think it is important to kind of touch on, what do we stand for at Salve Regina? So the very first line of our mission statement is, as a community that welcomes people of all beliefs. So we start out with a statement of inclusivity, and our last line is, we work for a world that is harmonious, just, and merciful. Our students, by the time they graduate, will feel like they have a sense of confidence that they can go out in the world and they can improve the lives of others. There's 5 areas that the Sisters of Mercy worldwide have a particular focus on, and those are earth, immigration, nonviolence as sort of a baseline of behavior, anti-racism, and promoting the rights of women worldwide. And so our students, in particular in those areas, will be able to tackle those big questions and feel like they have the sense of confidence to improve the world around them. Of course, it starts with an education that is grounded in the liberal arts, an education that is very personal. We have a lot of options at Salve. We have just over 2,100 undergraduate students and a little over 500 graduate students. We have over 60 majors, but you don't have to know what you want to study right away. There's only 2 programs where you kind of do have to know in advance. That's nursing, because it is a direct entry program. So students will start taking those nursing classes in day 1, and education. But other than that, all of these majors you will declare in your 2nd year. So you have time to kind of see what you like and what you don't like, but you'll have classes in all of the major areas. We have lots of the popular programs that you might expect from a small liberal arts college in New England, business, administration of justice. But then we have some unique programs. We have a Bachelor of Arts in Dance. It's a Bachelor of Fine Arts in Dance. And we have a program called Cultural and Historic Preservation, where students study the built environment. They learn how to preserve, protect, advocate for historic objects, buildings, and even entire neighborhoods. And it makes sense that Salve has such an emphasis in history and preservation programs because we're located in one of the most historic districts in New England. We're in the Bellevue Avenue Historic District, sometimes known as the Mansion District of Newport, Rhode Island. We're on an island in Rhode Island, but there's bridges, so it's very easy to get on and off. We're only about an hour and a half from Boston, Massachusetts, and Logan Airport, which has direct flights all over the US and many countries around the world. And then we have a local airport about 40 minutes from campus called TF Green that has some direct flights to the Midwest and the South. 85% of our students are from out of state. So if you're not from Rhode Island, no fear, you'll definitely meet other people from other states and other countries. And our campus is a really nice blend between history, living in this incredibly preserved historic neighborhood, actually living in some of these buildings from the 1800s, mansions, barns, stables, carriage houses, buildings that have been adaptively reused. But then we have newer modern facilities like our cafeteria, our academic center, the rec center. So students have a really nice blend of those 2 things and are completely a part of the neighborhood around us. We really sort of blend in with the city of Newport. Our students really get outside of the walls of campus and they really explore the area and learn how to be adults in a small New England town. But there's so many things to do on campus. We have 19 Division III varsity sports. We're well known for sailing, and Newport is one of the sailing capitals of the world. We also have club sports like rugby. They've been national champions several times in the past decade. We have over 60 student-led organizations. That's our multicultural student organization there at the top right. We have some newer affinity groups like our multicultural student organization, as I mentioned, our Black Student Union, the Female Empowerment Club. And we're really excited about some of those new clubs on campus. We have the Pell Center for International Relations and Public Policy. That was founded by an act of Congress. And Senator Claiborne Pell, you may know him for the Pell Grants, was very involved with Salve. And through this center, we bring in speakers from all over the world. Names like Dr. Cornel West, Dr. Jill Biden, Senator John Kerry. And so our students can get inspired by these folks coming right to our campus. There's always some kind of event, club, comedian, mind reader, magician, just fun things going on throughout the year and on the weekends. So there's plenty of things to do on campus all the time. And my lower right photo there is community service because all of our students participate in that. And it's a really big part of the Salve experience. We give back to over 60 organizations on the island and in the area. Students at Salve have between a B+ and an A- GPA overall. We're completely test optional for all of our majors. We do a very holistic evaluation. We're a member of the Common Application. We give fee waivers to our out-of-state students or students that have a financial need. We have flight assistance for students from out of the region. So someone mentioned before in the comments were some things that you do for low-income or first-generation students. And about a third of our students, by the way, are first-generation students. So we're really proud of that figure. You can apply to Salve in November, January, or February. Students tend to be admitted at about the same rate. But if you have any questions, you can ask your admissions counselor. Here's a little QR code you can scan to meet your counselor. We'd love to meet with you, put a face to the name. All of us have interview links there. And also check out salve.edu/visit to learn about upcoming tours, workshops, and things of that nature. Thanks so much for listening to me today, and I'll turn it over to our next speaker.
All right, thank you. Next up, we have Simmons University.
Hello, everyone. Just share my screen. Hi, my name is Shalina Smart. I am one of the assistant directors of undergraduate admission at Simmons University. And Simmons is a small liberal arts women-centered institution right in the city of Boston, so right in the heart of Boston. But what women-centered means is that we were founded as a women's college, and we identify ourselves as women-centered to be inclusive to the trans and non-binary students that are members of our community. So if you're trans or non-binary, you can apply to and come to Simmons. So we are a very small institution with a little bit less than 1,800 undergraduate students. And I think the benefit of that is that you have a small classroom experience. So you will always get to know your professors, your peers. All of the resources on campus are really geared to make sure the undergraduate experience is very special. But something that is pretty cool about Simmons is that we are a member of a consortium called the Colleges of the Fenway, which include 4 other institutions, which are less than a mile away. And really they're like across the street in every direction. And within the Colleges of the Fenway, there are over 12,000 students. So you get the small classroom experience where I think it matters the most. And then you have the opportunity to have a large social experience. And you can pick up minors at those institutions, cross-register, also join clubs and activities. So while we have a bunch of different organizations and opportunities at Simmons, you also can take advantage of the opportunities at all the other institutions. And we are in Boston, as I mentioned, we're the college capital of America. So there are a third of the population within the city of Boston are college students. So again, you really have the opportunity to interact with so many different people while really experiencing true liberal arts education right in the city. And some of the cool things I think about our locations that we have, like the Museum of Fine Arts, you get free admission there. We have the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum, which is a really cool place. If you ever are in Boston, you should definitely go there because it's really, really pretty inside. We're also in the Longwood Medical area, which is great for students that are interested in health in any capacity. And my favorite thing about Simmons that I like to throw in there is that Target is right up the street, and I personally love Target. So you're really in a location where you are right in the city, but you have access to so many different opportunities and resources, which I think is a great way to grow up into an adult. And we have a bunch of different majors and minors. Some of the things we're most popularly known for are things like nursing, physical therapy, social work. Psychology is very, very popular. And we have some accelerated programs that I would like to point out. So we have 3+1 options where you will get your bachelor's and your master's in 4 years for public policy, library and information science, and social work. So if you're interested in those at any point, you do have to apply right away. So they are direct entry. So if you're just thinking about it, definitely fill it out in the application. And I look forward to reading your applications. Another thing that is really important to us is professional preparation. So at our foundation, the founder, John Simmons, really wanted to make sure that the students that attended the institution could sustain themselves, depend on themselves for their own livelihood. So professional preparation is something that's very important to us. So whether that's an internship, research, clinicals, or an independent study, we want our students to get out of the classroom, have hands-on experience so that they're really prepared to go out in the world and kind of take over in whatever capacity they want, whether that's to go into a job or continue their education. We want to give you the tools to be successful in that. And then, as I mentioned before as well, we are a women-centered institution. And I think there are many benefits to having a women-centered education. Essentially, students that attend them are more likely to be successful, more likely to be leaders. For people in STEM, you're like 12 times more likely to stick with that. So I think there are a lot of benefits to a women-centered education. And if that's something you're interested in, please definitely let me know, and I would love to chat with you about it. But that's all I have. So thank you so much.
All right, thank you. Next up, we have University of Cincinnati.
All right, thank you. My name is Erin Stahlkeeper, and I am coordinator for the greater New York area for University of Cincinnati. So basically that just means that I'm regionally based in New York State in the Hudson Valley area and work for the University of Cincinnati's general kind of central admissions office. So I will provide my contact info for you guys later on at the end of the presentation. But University of Cincinnati, we are located in Cincinnati, Ohio. We are a large public research institution, tier 1 research institution. So there's a lot of different opportunities within that. Our enrollment, the number you see on the screen, that over 46,000, that is our total enrollment number. So that includes undergraduate, graduate students. We have 3 different campuses. Our uptown campus, and usually students from out of state would be looking at the uptown campus for programs. And then we have 2 regionally based campuses as well. And those are more like a community college. They tend to have more 2-year programs. They do have some 4-year programs as well. But overall on our main uptown campus, we have about 27,000 undergraduate students. So again, a large institution. We do have over 350 academic programs for you to choose from. So one of the benefits to having such a large institution is that there are a lot of different opportunities and resources for you as a student. We have 13 different academic colleges that we are made up of, and we have a lot of different programs to choose from. So I definitely can't name them all, but some of the ones to highlight that we see a lot of applications for, especially from out of state, would be the College of Nursing, our Medical Sciences program. We have the College of Business, College of Engineering and Applied Science, College of Allied Health Sciences, and then we have Arts and Sciences, our Design, Architecture, Art, and Urban Planning, and our Education and Criminal Justice as well. So there's a lot of different programs within those colleges. We have a 17-to-1 student to faculty ratio. So I think a lot of students are surprised to hear that, given that they saw that big 46,000 student population number. About 70% of the classes that you have at UC will be 40 students or fewer. So only about 3 or 4% of your courses will have over 100 students in them during your time at UC. So you are getting some small classroom experience within a large institution, which is really nice. We do also have an exploratory studies program. So if you're not sure what you want to study, we have an entire staff and center dedicated to exploratory studies and helping students determine what it is that they want to study, maybe what it is you don't want to study, and helping you transition to the major that you want to get into. Experience is also very important at University of Cincinnati. We have something called the Bearcat Promise. The Bearcat's our mascot. The Bearcat Promise is basically the institution's promise to you as a student that when you come to University of Cincinnati, that you will graduate not only with a degree in one hand, but you'll also have a plan for what's next in the other. So we do that by a lot of different ways. You can see the list here, co-op and internships being at the top. Co-op we actually invented with cooperative education, if you're not familiar, similar to an internship, except at Cincinnati, you do have to be paid, compensated for your time, and you actually don't take classes during the semester that you're on co-op. You will be working full-time, and you can do that anywhere, nationally, and we also have international placements for students too. We invented that in 1906, so cooperative education or co-op is a really big part of many students' experiences, depending on your major at UC. If you don't want to do co-op, or maybe your program doesn't require it, you can also look into internships. Some internships are paid, some are not. So that'll allow you though to be able to still take courses like a full-time schedule for your courses that semester while also working and getting experience. There's a lot of other ways to gain experience though too, sometimes depending on your major, clinical rotations for nursing and medical sciences students, student teaching, of course, for our education students. I mentioned research before, study abroad and service learning is really important. We also have a college conservatory of music, so artistic performances are going to be a really big part of their experience. Our CCM students actually put on over 1,000 different shows per year, which is pretty remarkable when you think about how many of that is even in a day that they're doing. We also want to make the students able to find their communities within the University of Cincinnati. So part of how we do that, of course, is clubs and organizations. We have over 500 different clubs and organizations to choose from. We also have a lot of different learning communities. There's Greek life. We have a lot of identity-based organizations. Those include the Women's Center, Veterans Center, LGBTQ Center, our Gen 1 Center, which is for our first generation students. We have our AACRC, or African American Resource and Cultural Center, and Ethnic Programs and Services, just to name a few of the handful that we have for our students. So there's really a big part of your time is coming to UC and making a large population feel much smaller and finding your community, so that to help you kind of be successful during your time as a student and beyond, and make those connections. And we have Division I athletics as well. So if you were interested in that kind of do you want to experience going to a football game or going to a basketball game, baseball, whatever it might be. We do have those available for students as well. And your Bearcat, your ID card, your student ID card gets you into many of the home games actually for free. So the city of Cincinnati is obviously going to be your home if you come to UC. We have over 400 Fortune 500 companies located in the city of Cincinnati. And I believe there are about 9 that are headquartered in Cincinnati as well. So again, great opportunities for that experience that we want you to get as a student. We've also been ranked as one of the top 25 cities for young people to live in, as well as one of the top 5 most affordable cities, which you don't necessarily think of when you're looking at colleges, but things like how much it costs to go to the movies or to go out to dinner or get a cup of coffee, those types of things are a lot lower in the city of Cincinnati than many other places. So something to kind of keep in mind and consider as you continue your college search as well. Applying, so we are on the Common Application, Common App exclusive, meaning that is our only application for our first year undergraduate students. We are early action, we don't have early decision. Our early action deadline is December 1st. I highly recommend everyone apply by that deadline because it's also our merit scholarship consideration deadline. So if you want to be considered for merit scholarships, as well as all of our competitive academic programs, December 1st is a really important deadline to keep in mind. We have to have all of your materials in by December 1st in order for you to be considered for merit scholarships and all of the programs that you applied to. We are direct admit, so when you do select a major on the application, we do evaluate you for that specific program, and we let you choose up to 3. So we start with your first choice and then kind of go down the list from there until we can hopefully admit you to one of the programs you selected or admit you to our exploratory studies program for the general admission to UC. So first step, Common Application, submit by December 1st for the early action deadline and the scholarship deadline. We also need your official transcripts. Test scores are optional for fall 2022 admission still. So we are test optional. We will be requiring them, I believe, still for the College of Nursing, as well as for our early childhood education program. They required them last year, and I have not heard that they've changed their minds on that. So nursing applicants and early childhood education applicants will have to submit a test score. Any other academic program you apply to is test optional. And then one letter of recommendation, and that will complete your application. And there is my contact info. So I will answer any questions that you guys have in the Q&A, and I'll also put my contact info there, as well as how to find one of my colleagues who might be your rep if you're not located in the greater New York or Northeast area of the country. And I will pass it over to my city of Cincinnati neighbor, Dan.
All right, thanks. Perfect.
Hi, everybody. So now that Erin has totally sold you on Cincinnati, basically we are Xavier University, also located in Cincinnati. And I think I'm going to steal, Evan, your Goldilocks and the Three Bears. If we're one of the Three Bears, we're in the middle. We're about 5,000 undergraduate students. And basically, being a Jesuit institution, we are very much we thrive on this concept of being a person for others, in terms of this whole point of us getting an education, in terms of why we are here as a part of a community. So we really are, whatever our pursuits and passions are, that we are to become our best selves for the betterment of our fellow man. As you can see, when it comes to the makeup of our student body, there's some numbers here. One of the things I like to point out is that over half of our population comes from outside of Ohio. And so basically, a lot of times people think like we might be a regional school and it's mainly from Ohio, but we actually draw people from outside of Ohio, and that will really kind of expose the undergraduates to different points of view, to different worldviews, and then that shows up in the classroom. I also like this other, I'm gonna see if I can go back, this other factor in regards to that 39% of the undergraduates are the first in their high school to come. And what that tells us is actually that they are the ones who are looking around at their classmates, looking around where everyone's going. And these are the students who really want to break out. They want to do something different. They want to kind of explore something new. And again, that energy does feed into the culture of the student body. So in terms of us kind of being in Cincinnati, we've got a lot to do on campus. There's over 170 clubs and organizations. So it's really hard not to get involved, but as Aaron mentioned, there's a lot to do in Cincinnati as well. We also, on top of our clubs and organizations, we do have D1 sports. And so we're part of the Big East. And last year we kind of just missed it. We're going to kind of just write that off as a fluke in terms of March Madness. So hopefully now that everything's kind of getting back to normal, we can get back to this picture again, cramming everybody into the Cintas Center to make sure that we can kind of root on our Musketeers as they try to go for that March Madness again. Cincinnati, again, as Aaron was talking about, there's a lot to do on top of what we have to offer on campus. But again, highlighting similarly the internship opportunities, and then when you start looking for jobs after school. Basically, in terms of, like I mentioned, whatever your pursuits and whatever your passions are, you're going to see some of our top majors: nursing, business undecided, biomedical sciences, exploratory. For those of you who may not have caught on, there's this new language, instead of saying undecided, that you're now exploring, right? Undecided seems kind of like a little like, okay, they're lost, but you're not lost. You're just trying to figure everything out. And so basically at Xavier, we are here to help make sure that you explore the different opportunities and see what is out there for you to kind of consider for life after college, right? In terms of your success at Xavier, we are committed to your success. We are all for one, as that earlier slide mentioned. And so in terms of the support services and the support network available to the students, you're going to see some of these boxes, if you will, and some of them will make sense: an academic advisor, financial aid, career coach, peer mentors. But sometimes people kind of want to know more about what is this success coach. And this success coach is basically to help you transition from high school to college, right? It's going to be a totally different ball game. You're not going to know what to do with the 3 hours between your first and your second class in terms of navigating school systems and registering and trying to figure things out. So the success coach is really there as a person to kind of really help you figure things out, because everything is going to be so new, right? You guys have just worked so hard to become seniors, and you're about to be freshmen again, right? And so these coaches are going to help you kind of, again, figure your way through this so that by the end of your senior year, you've got this in the bag, right? So as we, again, are committed to your success, and as that is something we strive for, here's another page with a bunch of numbers. And the one number I like to point out is the one right in the middle. And that's the 93% of students who basically at their senior year, they're out the door, and we're asking them, like, how did we do, right? And 93% have said that we have done a good or excellent job. Now, I'm very aware that there's 7% missing there, but that definitely just keeps us striving more to hit that 100. But again, the 93 tells us that we are doing a great job in making sure that we are delivering on our promise in regards to making sure that we are providing the students who come to Xavier the experience that they're looking for, right? And so when it comes to the admission process, I believe actually, if I'm not mistaken, I'm Xavier of this group is the only rolling admissions school. And so for those of you who might not be familiar with rolling admissions basically is we don't have a firm like overall deadline. It's whenever you get your application incomplete, or when you get your application in and complete, that we will start reviewing, and then we'll let you know within a couple weeks, right? Starting in October. The one thing you do want to keep in mind though, is that, and if you are looking at other rolling admission schools, that there is a December 1 deadline for Xavier if you are interested in programs like nursing and some of our honors programs and some of our other competitive programs, right? And our scholarships. So we do, even though we are a rolling admission, we do have a priority deadline, so you can make that. So when you want to double check that when you're looking at other rolling admission schools that you might be considering, okay? And then again, so going through the process, we know that we're already kind of rushing you through your senior year, but then by May 1st, you figure it out and you make your commitment and then you move in, right? So definitely when it comes to the admission process, we're here to help walk you through that. This is my information right here if you want to screenshot it. And I believe I already put in, if you want to get in our mailing list, you can click on the link that I put in the chat and we can get you more information. So thank you, and stop sharing my screen now and pass it back to Christy.
All right, perfect. So if I could actually have everyone come back on screen in the same order that you presented, I'm going to have you answer a question for the audience. If you could tell us what advice you would give someone going through the college search process, starting with Bowdoin.
I think it's important just to keep an open mind, and you've heard from very different institutions here tonight. And it's good to ask your questions and not get too settled on just one option, but to really explore and not pigeonhole yourself too early in the process.
I would say, like in this process, just recognize that it's all about a match to be made and not a prize to be won. I just think as you kind of move through this process, you'll have so many people kind of giving you input as to where you should go or where your friends think you should go and what they think is important. But when you kind of find yourself on college campuses and interacting with people like us, there's a lot of people that kind of like get that gut feeling that there's just something that feels right in one place or another. And if you get that gut feeling, there's really something to be said for that. And so I think, again, just it's a match to be made and not a prize to be won. It's about your part of the process, so you should have fun with all of that.
I love these answers so far. I'll just add sort of like from a practical standpoint, I think sometimes students get a little overwhelmed by all of the options out there. Like there are so many hundreds of colleges. You're probably opening the mailbox by the time you get to junior year and, floods coming out of messages and that kind of thing. So, I suggest having a spreadsheet and one tab can be sort of like the big list. And it's just a way to kind of keep track of things that you like about the colleges. Think about your fit, that academic fit, that social fit. And then the second tab can be more of that like end of junior year, beginning of senior year. And that's really where you're narrowing down that list. And that's the list of the colleges where you want to, check all of those emails and try to make contact with admissions counselors like us, because we love talking to you and having those interactions. But yeah, just kind of taking some time to step back and think about ways to feel kind of organized and, mindful about the process.
I would say definitely ask every single question that comes to mind. No question is too big, too small, too silly, too serious. I think any question that comes to mind is important to you in your process, because wherever you end up is going to be where you spend some time. That's going to impact your life in one way or another. And then the other piece of advice I would say is take advice from others, but don't feel the need to take too much advice. It's still your choice. So listen to people. If you think they say something that is meaningful to you, take it. If you don't think it applies to you, just keep moving on, because ultimately it is your choice, and you'll get to the end. You'll get there.
I always tell students to be authentic, to be you, to not worry so much about where your classmates are going or where they're applying. You're different people. It might not be the same fit that we mentioned before. It might not be a good fit for you. So don't worry so much about like the bumper sticker school, like the fancy name to put on the back of someone's car or whatever. Really focus on where you're going to be the happiest, and who cares what the name of the school is, just focus on where you're going to be able to be who you are. So that's usually that. And also pay attention to deadlines. That's my other big tip.
Okay. And me being last means everybody else stole what I was going to say, but I will take something that Erin mentioned in terms of being authentic. In terms of your essay, don't try and worry about what the right answer is. Don't try, we just want to know who you are through the essay. There's no master key that's going to you write this and you're in, right? We just want to know about you. So kind of stemming up what Erin said, that you just need to be authentic. We just want to get to know who you are. And then in terms of practical advice, when you're proofreading your essay, maybe read it out loud. That's when you might catch those long run-on sentences that you didn't know existed. But again, really being serious, the authenticity is really what we're looking for, because we are looking for people to become members of our school communities.
All right, perfect. Thank you so much to our panelists, to our experts. Thank you to everyone who was able to join us out there virtually, or if you are watching this recording, thank you. If you're here live with us, when you leave, there is a quick 4-question survey. Please make sure you complete that. There are more sessions tonight. And again, a recording of this is available, and I put that link into the chat as well. With that, best of luck to everyone out there in their college search. And thank you so much to our experts, to our panelists, and have a good night.